So apparently Patriots Front, which is more or less a U.S. fascist group, marched in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and apparently Washington, D.C. Now in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, they got into it with some of the local Philadelphians and ran off. And I'm going to explain why groups like Patriots Front, or at least why public displays by groups like Patriots Front are stupid, and how they lead to the government cracking down more and more and more and more on white Americans through promoting the fake specter of this alleged white supremacist neo-Nazi threat that really does not exist. Okay? Let's keep that in mind. This does not exist. This is imaginary, but yet the government has created a whole task force geared toward attacking white Americans based on this myth of white supremacy. Now, I had originally planned for tonight to do a video on how fat acceptance, which is one of the more bizarre things promoted by cultural Marxism, was not promoted in the Soviet Union, and how the Soviet Union promoted physical excellency. Okay? I will be doing that. I'll be showing you. I'm going to blend these two together because the one goes with the other, okay? Because critical race theory, where we're winning, but not because of groups like Patriots Front, we're winning the critical race theory argument because parents are finally recognizing what this crap is, why it's crazy, and why they don't want their children learning it. Okay, that's what we're finding out. Critical race theory is losing. Okay, that's one of many things that needs to lose. Fat acceptance, which is the craziest thing in my opinion that the radical left has promoted since the 1960s. That is also a branch of cultural Marxism. But remember what I said, cultural Marxism is not communism. It's not meant to work, it's meant to weaken. It's meant to weaken this republic. It's meant to make us weak enough to be usurped by the USSR, which does not exist anymore. So let's get into why I believe groups like Patriots Front and similar groups are stupid. Okay. When you have groups like Patriots Front, remember I brought up why in my video on communism with US values. Third positionism is tainted. It's a tainted ideology. Whether we want to believe it or not, whether we want to justify why we believe in it or not, or what have you, it is a tainted theory. The symbolism is particularly tainted. Patriots Front utilizes the fasci, and I know what you're saying, that also is used at Congress. Yes, the fasci is at Congress, and that has to do with the fact that we are based on a Roman-style republic, just as fascist Italy was. Okay? What you need to take into consideration is that essentially that is a tainted symbol. The fasci is now a tainted symbol, on par with the swastika. So you can't go around sporting the fasci and expecting not to be denounced as, anti-American or a white supremacist or something like that. And you can't spout racist ideology and expect for that not to happen. The one thing that I really think that advocates for white civil rights need to understand is that what they need to be promoting is white civil rights. Period. Not racist ideology. Okay? critical race theory went too far. The radical left went too far with critical race theory, and people woke up. That's why it's losing, okay? It's not losing because groups like Patriot Front went and said this is crazy stuff. Groups like Patriots Front are the reason things like critical race theory have fuel, okay? When a group like Patriots Front gets together and gathers together and marches down the street chanting whatever they're chanting, even if they're chanting liberty and justice for all, okay? Because mind you, now the American flag is seen as a racist symbol. It doesn't matter what they're chanting. They will be seen as a white supremacist group, okay? Just like the rally, the Bundes rally in New York, in Madison Square Garden, I believe it was. That was seen as racist. There was nothing racist about that. It was a pro-American gathering, okay? And that's what the facts are. It was a pro-American gathering at Madison Square Garden of the German-American Bundes, okay? Or the German-American Bund, however you say that. I don't sprechen Sie Deutsch. But my point is that they were seen as horrible, rotten, racist people. They were not. The same thing will happen to Patriots Front, and that allows people like the ADL, the SPLC, etc. to go, look at these wicked white people. Okay? We have a white supremacist problem in the United States. And then you get, because they're in with the government, they're in with the politicians, like Donald Trump. Okay, remember, this all started under Donald Trump. And then they start going, oh, well, there's a huge white supremacist problem, and we need to crack down on that using the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI and the Department of Justice and this and that. So whenever a group like this gathers together in an organized fashion, it allows the enemy to point the finger and say, look at this huge problem. And I know what people are saying, what about Antifa? Isn't Antifa doing the same thing except worse? Because Antifa, mind you, Patriots Front didn't destroy any property, didn't attack anybody as far as I know, but I definitely know they didn't destroy any property because the Philadelphia police said they didn't destroy any property. Whereas Antifa and Black Lives Matter are literally burning our cities down. Okay? But the thing that you have to remember, that puts us on the moral superiority scale. We can say, look at this, look at what's going on. And yes, it misses the media. The media still tries to paint it as mostly peaceful protesters. But people with common sense, more people have common sense than you think. People with common sense see what we're saying and go, you know what? It is wrong that the major cities of this country are on fire because Black Lives Matter and Antifa set them on fire. Maybe they're not mostly peaceful protesters. Maybe they are anti-American crazed lunatics, okay? So you have to keep everything in context. You have to keep it in context, and you have to understand how an organized gathering of people gathering under the symbol of the fasci could be seen as anti-American, and why it's seen as anti-American, and why it's seen as racist. And then you have to see, how can I do something about this without drawing negative attention to me or my people or my cause? The way I've recommended people do this, it's stupid to go into the streets. It's stupid to go toe-to-toe with Antifa. It's stupid to get involved in this because, as I said, this gives more fuel to the fire, and they can go, oh, well, it wasn't really Antifa, it was the white supremacist agitators amongst Antifa, okay? So what you really need to do is you need to calmly, coolly, and smoothly state what's going on over, say, YouTube, for example, or Gab, or BitChute, or Rumble, or any number of things, or type it out on Facebook or Instagram. We are not living in the Stone Age, we do not need to gather in organized rallies, marching down the street, putting ourselves at risk of being arrested or being murdered or God knows what, okay? We don't need to do that. We live in an age of technology. We can reach the whole world from the comfort of our living rooms. And more and more and more white people need to be doing that. And they need to be doing it calmly, coolly, and smoothly. And they need to stop promoting racism and start promoting an awakening of reality and an awakening of what's really going on and the lack of fairness. Remember, social justice cuts two ways. And now, how am I going to get into the fat acceptance thing and my idea of communism with US values? Well, the way I'm going to get into that is it's become popular since the 60s for fat acceptance to be pushed by the radical left. It's become real popular lately, but it started in the 1960s, and it has its roots in the same things as feminism. And it actually started, interestingly enough, as an offshoot of feminism. And how this works is this. Okay, so remember I said communism with US values. Okay, what about how communism promoted nationalism in Latin America? This is the way I think that whites in the United States need to accept communism with US values. We need to accept the social justice aspects and promote social justice for white people, just as Latin Americans promoted social justice for Latin Americans and indigenous people, and just as the ANC sort of promoted social justice for the black South Africans. And I think that's what white Americans need to do. Okay, but the fat acceptance movement, which has its roots in social Marxism or cultural Marxism, which is far, 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 far different than communism, and I'm going to show you how, promoted fat acceptance and fat positivity and body positivity and all this bullcrap. And if you look at the USSR promoted absolute physical excellency. Why the difference? Why? Why is cultural Marxism so different than Soviet communism? Well, the reason why is because cultural Marxism was created to weaken this country. Things like fat acceptance and critical race theory and things of this nature are designed to cause chaos and to weaken the country. Critical race theory allows them to put everybody against one another. Really everybody against the white majority. And it allows the white majority to turn on itself, because after all, social justice la-di-da. With fat acceptance, it physically and medically destroys this country. It destroys the well-being of the people in this country. So what I'm getting at here is with communism with US values, what is that? Well, what is that? I don't know what it is yet. I haven't decided fully what it is yet, but I think it will look like justicialism, a blend of justicialism and U.S. progressivism. People don't understand how much U.S. progressivism influenced these other movements. Theodore Roosevelt-style progressivism and new nationalism was at the forefront of the political theories of the time. It is the root of things like fascism, National Socialism, and to a large extent, communism that actually works. Okay? And this can be traced to things like the Rockefeller Foundation. And everybody will say, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. That's only bad if you're a capitalist jerk-off, squeezing the worker to death under the iron grip of a corporate welfare state. Otherwise, this is a good thing. Okay? Progressivism is a good thing. New nationalism is a good thing. And what is a bad thing is fat acceptance, body positivity, critical race theory, etc. So communism with U.S. values would be anti-fat acceptance, anti-critical race theory, anti all this nonsense, and pro-progressive. under true progressivism like that embraced under Theodore Roosevelt's ideas and Franklin Roosevelt's ideas. And that's all for this video. Please follow the links in the description, which go to these things, and that's all for this video.